Shedeur should not be caught up in their politics of not prioritizing winning, but prioritizing preference and what the quarterback look like that they want to win with. If that's the foolish games they want to play, that's on them. But they have no right to disrupt this young man's career because they want to win with a quarterback with less melanin. Maybe 1% or 0.5%, but not a black American quarterback. That's where we are. Who is going to correct the wrongs that was done in the draft? Let's be real. Because do they really expect this young man to spend the next 4 years? Do they really expect him to spend the next 4 years balling out, winning chips, winning playoffs, taking these irrelevant teams and changing the culture? Like he said, because he's a transformative QB, something that they were against. They want to control the culture. He's already changing the culture. That game was probably less than 500 tickets away from being sold out. That was a almost, if not sold out, preseason game. So Shadur is already to change. He's already changed the culture. He have people who haven't watched football in decades watching preseason football. People having conversations about it. They'll be looking forward to the next game. But who's going to start? The fourth string QB? Who they refuse to give first team reps to? Who they refuse to put in front of Dillon and Pickett, even though he proved better than them? Or are they going to put Shedeur back out there for some more views, some more ratings, because they don't want to admit they should have drafted him at number 2, like they were actually planning to do? It's documented. See, I said, I don't care if you change your mind. I don't care if, well, we were going to get Shedeur, but we decided to trade. Let's be clear. Cleveland could have had Shedeur and Travis and had dinner with both of them after CU's pro day, pretending to want to draft both of them, and they weren't going to get neither one of them. But they spent way more time with Shedeur, leading him to believe he was about to be a $46 million QB than they did Travis. But Travis did get the money. You see how that worked? And Shedeur got Travis's jersey number. I expect Shedeur, if he wants his 2, it needs to be in his locker as the beginning of what looks like an apology. And once we apologize and he get them first team reps, and he's made QB2, and they start having a fair and square situation, and they stop trying to hold him back and push him down and embarrass him, I don't expect to see Andrew Berry looking at Shedeur like this and not protecting Shedeur from that toxic environment that has been created in Cleveland by the owner. But Andrew Berry better watch himself, because now they probably going to let somebody come on in and swoop in and take him right from underneath him. I can see it. Shedeur balled out. The grade I would give him is an A+, and let me tell you why. Because Kevin Stefanski put Shedeur in an impossible situation. He set him up to fail, trying to restrict him from an air game. He wanted to have a heavy passing game, but it just didn't work out. And he wanted him to be behind a weak O-line. He could have played the ones. You could have played the 2s. And when it was an obvious mismatch, why was there no rotation in players to protect the quarterback? Because we don't want you. We don't value you. So while Kevin Stefanski is still sending a message that we don't want you to be a viable part of our program, look at Andrew Berry over here looking like fam tonight. This young man don't know who he could trust in Cleveland. A lot of fans think he need to be traded ASAP to a better organization. Some say the Rams. I say Pittsburgh, but Dallas has the ability to make it happen and is the closest to the pen. Dallas has not signed Michael Parsons' contract. I know Jerry Jones going to hear about this if he haven't already. We know how much before all of the hatred and scapegoating the Coach Prime, we know how much Jerry Jones liked Shedeur, and we knew why. Because he see dollar signs. He already knows Shedeur generated $250 million in jerseys. Now he out here winning preseason games, putting a BTA on the Carolina Panthers with their second team, and he's supposed to be fourth team. And although we know he's QB1, the players he was throwing to were third and fourth team, because while we were live, I was looking them up. The ones he connected with the most in practice are the ones he balled out with. Gage, 84. Luke Floria, 37. They moved Luke Floria up from fourth string to third string, but not Shadur. I expect to see it first thing Monday morning. Shadur needs to be elevated in front of Dylan because Shadur is better than Dylan. If he wants to compete, if they want him to compete with Pickett, so be it. But we done with this. He's a fifth string QB. He can't pick his jersey number. He's a fifth string QB. He can't be in front of Dylan because Dylan was drafted first. I don't give a damn when he was drafted. That's your fault. That's your mistake. Fix it. But to disrupt this young man's career because you want to save face, because you tried to play in his face and severely devalue him, you can skin and grin in his face all you want to. Somebody gonna pay this man. Somebody gonna pay this man because he should have been drafted not just in the first round, not just in the top 5, not just in the top 3. October 2024, he was the number 1 overall pick. That was after the Nebraska game. He still was the number 1 overall pick. They need to pay him like he's the number 1 overall pick. And if they're like, well, we got to wait till the next contract, I'm going to suggest you figure it out. Because again, in front of millions of people, this young man was vindicated. In front of millions of people, he was humiliated. In front of millions of people, he was vindicated. His father was also vindicated. If you're a numbers person, don't forget the 21 in the score. 2 touchdowns, despite a weak O-line. When Shedeur told reporters last week before they left for Carolina, when they asked him how was he going to be in a game setting, he said, what? Did you see me play in Colorado? I'm the same quarterback. Tonight, he had on a Colorado backpack. He's the same player. He had his hair twisted like 2023. Shedeur Sanders, the same QB. Shedeur Sanders was the most ready NFL QB and on the biggest stage in the most sold out game. Hell, Kansas City might be the only other team who's close to a sellout in preseason. They followed this young man around. They filmed him coming in the tunnel like he was LeBron James. They followed him on the field like he was Pat Mahomes. They get upset when you compare him to Tom Brady or Joe Burrow or Jaden Daniels. But that's exactly who he is. Shedeur Sanders is as advertised. And the questions about what happened in the draft are right back at us. At some point when you're doing wrong and you're going down the wrong path and you get to a point where you want to save face and you keep getting exposed and further exposed, at some point you got to cut your losses and start doing what's right. When does the NFL start doing right by Shedeur and lift this moratorium so he could be traded and go to a team where he can be the rightful QB1 that he was going to be drafted at? And then when are they going to compensate him fairly? Because he's not dealing with this $4 million. We're going to have to get this money some kind of way. Either he gets a bigger cut of the jerseys that add up to $40 million, plus he gets the standard amount of the standard percentage that all players get. Or you find him an endorsement that's going to make up the money that y'all stole from him. This young man and his father were vindicated tonight. Not only did he prove to be as advertised QB1, it's even more obvious that they colluded against him in the draft. The facility was right. They lied to us about Shedeur. Stephen A. was right. They're setting him up to fail. They tried it. And he still won the game. He still balled out. Went into halftime with 2 touchdowns. Once he realized who was going to be who, Even though they kept rotating players, he scored 2 touchdowns in the second quarter. So in other words, he needed the first quarter to figure out what the hell was going on. Y'all want me to pass off the ball? You want me to throw it? You keep changing my receivers. I'm not used to throwing to these people. The O-line not protecting. The ones that I'm throwing to can't catch it. But then when we get to the second quarter and he start throwing to Luke Floria, the people from camp, engage, he connects. Once they put in a tight end, it took him a couple of passes to the tight end because he was an unknown target for Shedeur. Now he's known. If they roll into Philly and make Shedeur play, I want to see them 3 as the receivers. But when they get back to Cleveland, the first thing I want to hear and see is Shedeur working out with the ones, throwing the Jerry Jeudy. And then I want to hear the game plan for Philly. If Shedeur and anybody else is playing, it needs to be a match. Because if they're not going to put Dylan out there with the 3s and the 4s against the ones, then you're not going to do it to Shedeur. Now the Browns fans have seen, and remember, they were so excited when he got drafted, but they bought into all the negativity by the media. Well, they just going to toss that out the window now, right? Or are we going to start hearing excuses like I heard before the game? Oh, well, it's just preseason. It doesn't count. Oh, we had DTR. And he balled out in the preseason, but he didn't ball out in the regular season. I will remind you, DTR was not a first-round draft prospect. Neither was Tom Brady. Neither was Dan Orlovsky and a lot of other people. Where you get drafted matters. So let's stop saying it doesn't. The round you get drafted in determines what they're going to let you do selectively based on if they value you, if they want you, or if they like you, or if they respect you. If you're a black quarterback, where you get drafted matters in terms of the rounds because it affects your money, your career earnings. And then it affects how they're going to treat you, whether they're going to pigeonhole you on the roster or let you start and compete against the guy that failed. But it's going to always be something. This young man deserves an A+. He was put in an impossible situation. Like Anthony Richardson, he got hurt. It was negligent. Stefanski deserves to be fired. His performance raises questions about how it is 31 GMs passed on a first-round prospect. And make no mistake about it, the NFL has Shedeur and still does as a first-round draft prospect. You don't get to just push a first-round prospect to the 5th round because that's what you want to do. You can't hide behind the justification that he's entitled with no proof and it's subjective, and that's not why we're here. You've had entitled people for real. You can't gang up on a person, bully them, rob them, and mistreat them and harass them and torment them because they have a passion for the game. And you definitely don't get the right to scapegoat his father and hurt the players on his father's team because you want to justify and make people believe that nobody likes Coach Prime. Nobody believes that anyway. Everybody loves Coach Prime. Everybody loves Shedeur. They love Shiloh too. So everything the NFL did to hold Shedeur back in the draft has backfired in their face. This young man has been vindicated. His father has been vindicated. They reeled Shedeur and his dad in. Super Bowl weekend had Shedeur at the celebrity game as a celebrity, but got jealous because he wears a chain that says legendary, or because he has a tweet and in the bio it says be legendary. They look for any and everything to devalue him, and none of it had anything to do with his skill set. Now you know why. You can't drag Shedeur's skill set because he's undeniable. He's exactly who the hell he has been that we know of since high school. 3 championships in high school, 2 championships after a 12-year drought at Jackson State. And y'all know Colorado was also in the desert in the drought. If you hear somebody say and discuss Shedeur and keep saying he's a 5th round pick, they are a hater and they want to see him fail Don't even question it. Instead, call him out or block him. That's it. He's not a 5th round pick. He's a 1st round pick pushed down to the 5th round. Here's the major question. Why? Why? Somebody gonna have to answer it. Somebody's gonna have to answer it. See, Shadur has went on and found a bigger person, a bigger purpose for why he plays. He talked about it tonight. He doesn't just play the game for himself anymore, because he could have quit. And maybe that's what they wanted. He wouldn't enjoy it anymore. Maybe that's what they wanted. But people who are incarcerated have been writing him. He gives them hope. He gives them purpose. Because we know everybody locked up is not guilty. Not everybody locked up is guilty. We know that. So people like that write him. And he gives them hope that one day they will be vindicated. He has a higher purpose to play for. He said he was growing in his spirituality. I give him an A+ in that too. Because to stand next to the people who stabbed you in the back, to work for the people who keep kicking you down, setting you up to get hurt, who embarrassed you, tried to put a wedge between you and your dad, and to walk past them with forgiveness and go on about your life in peace is spiritual growth and maturity. I applaud Shedeur. That's who you want your kids to model after. Because we know our kids going to have to deal with difficult people. He aced the maturity in dealing with difficult people. He aced that game. They expected him to fail because the stage was big. They expected him to fail because the O-line was weak. They expected him to fail because they wanted to go with a run-heavy game. And did none of it happen. Once again, God showed out. So now that we know Shedeur is the proven best QB on their roster, now that we know he's a QB1, what's next? Does he get traded? Does Cleveland do the right thing and stop trying to save face and use Dillon as a wedge between Shedeur and QB1? Does Flacco start the season and Shedeur finish it? Does somebody get traded? Because now they got 6 quarterbacks. What happens to Huntley? Are they going to play in his face? They cut him last year before the season ended. They can't undo the damage, but they sure can make it right. So I'm going to hop in the comments and I'm going to see what y'all are saying.